Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to another episode of Channel Your Light, Own Your Intuitive. I have some messages and I'm being told they're relevant for the time frame that we are coming up to. So for those of you who are new here, my name is Erin Chandler. I'm an intuitive guide, psychic medium, author, and teacher. Thank you for being here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And for those of you returning, all my love. So I am actually sharing messages about a song that's coming through and very specific undertones that are going with it. And of course, again, it has to do with the month of love, because without love, what is the meaning of life? If we don't have a love of something, or if we don't have something that gives us purpose, I guess you could say. So as you know from my last video from a few days ago, we touched on just the nuances of love hurting and the amount of deep wounds and things that can be created from that. So take what resonates, leave what doesn't, trust your intuitive guidance. But the song playing is a very popular song right now. It's the one by Miley Cyrus. I can buy myself flowers, write my name in the sand. But the line that sticks out is, yes, you can buy yourself flowers. And side note, this is just a confirmation for somebody who just bought yourself flowers. And I'm hearing yellow daisies, or reference to sunflowers as well. Buy some sunflowers is what I'm hearing. Or you just bought some, or you were thinking about some. That's a validation for somebody on here. So the line that actually sticks out from the song is, I can love me better than you can. And the reason why this is important is that is the absolute truth. Spirit is saying, I have like this chorus, this group. I have a giant Archangel Michael here for somebody. Remember that no one can love you like you can. There's a number of nuances like this. They're saying, don't forget, people can only love you from the place that they're able to love themselves, or their perception of love, their experiences of love, which includes their conditions and their own wounding. Very few people operate on the earth plane in the state of absolute unconditional love. This is because most times on the 3D earth plane, we are filled with conditions of what it means, conditions of how it should feel, conditions of what it should look like. Very, it is rare. I'm seeing a giant diamond. It is rare for individuals to be on the earth plane and to be in a state of absolute unconditional love. As human beings, you are placed in a container with many conditions, and yet you are all working towards releasing the conditions, or unconditional love. So you're placed in conditional love, which creates the wounds and the paradigms and all these different things. How we identify ourselves in relationship to love, I guess you could say. The identity of love is what needs to change. I have an S name coming in for somebody on here, and it's like, I want to say Shane. I don't know how to pronounce this. It's an interesting one, but it's like sunshine and roses. So I'm going to come, that's just a validation for somebody on here. Your energy, don't forget, when you are watching this channel, we are co-creating messages that come through typically that I'm sharing when it's not solely just teaching, but I'm being told they're intermixed messages for people with the teachings that go along with it. Otherwise, what's the point of the message if you don't have a further down the line trajectory or guidance? Got it. Thank you, Spirit. Ava says, you're welcome, Mom. That's so funny. So that's a confirmation for somebody on here. But in addition, I'm hearing all of those conditions that we have placed. When we're creating this co-creative container, your energy is going into the pot to share in the wealth of information that comes through. I've said this before, and I'll say it over and over again. A guide is not intended to tell you what to do and what not to do. Rather, they're there to help guide you to the direction that you choose to go. Don't give away your power. It's the same thing with love. There's somebody on here, you have spent your whole life needing to feel chosen, or being the one who had to be chosen. Like, oh my gosh, they picked me. That must mean I have value. This actually stems from a long-term root foundational belief that you have to be chosen and you cannot choose. It's giving away your power. It's allowing somebody else to determine or discern whether or not you have value, whether you're worthy of love. And when we're in a state of being the chosen, like having to be chosen, we're naturally put into a dynamic, I'm hearing, that is very unhealthy and creates it's like starting the beginning of a relationship with an imbalance. And most of us started this in our childhood. This will not be something new for you. This will not be something that you have not experienced or identified. I'm seeing light bulb go on in this moment here. So you're actually moving in the state of transformation through 2024, stepping into your inner power, understanding different ideations that you have about yourself actually allows you to stand in your power and say, I am not here to be chosen or to belong to somebody. Rather, I choose myself. I can buy myself flowers. Ding, ding, ding. I just have a giant bullseye in the room and an arrow straight through the heart, straight through the middle. I'm hearing that's the point. That is the point, is to come back to, I can love myself better than anyone else can. I feel like I've said a similar message to this way earlier on this channel months and months ago, but I'm being told the time frame reference right now is very important, because oftentimes we plant seeds and it's only after the fact that when the seeds start to sprout, they suddenly see the daylight or the illumination or the light of what it was that was brewing underneath the surface for the last eight months. I'm getting 8 months as a reference. So I really feel like whoever this message is for, you're darn straight you can love yourself better than anyone else can. That's because you're really starting to understand who you are. People usually love you based on who they are and what they need and what they think you need in relationship to what they believe they need, which 9 times out of 10 has absolutely nothing to do with what you need or how you need to be loved. This is specifically directed towards feminines, I feel like, but this is obviously for both masculines and feminines. There's many men who experience this through really sharp shadow and light dynamics in their own childhood and how they're raised. Everybody's different. So it's this idea or concept that I have to be chosen and then I'm worthy of being loved. Meanwhile, Spirit is saying, I can love me better than you can. You can love you, Archangel Michael. This is a reference for somebody who's really connected to the energy of Archangel Michael. No one can love you the way that you can. And this is why we're coming back into the self-love revolution, right? It's not about loving the self in terms of the ego or only focusing on yourself and not helping others. This is, again, a message for the tender hearts, the tender lovers. The gentle and the meek is the word coming in there. The doe-eyed, the innocent, those that just genuinely wish to love and have no interest in harming anyone intentionally or consciously. So on that note, side note, Spirit says, my daughter Ava says, don't forget, in our need to be loved, in our need to see things from our own perspective, particularly if we have been wounded previously, don't forget that we often, in turn, in seeking love and having our own conditions for people based on our familial conditioning or wounding conditioning, we often will wound others without realizing it. And this can be done not because you consciously want to hurt somebody or you consciously want to take from them. Most people are unaware of the fact that they can unintentionally wound other people and have expectations based on conditioning, all because they want to be loved. It's kind of like love and power. They're giving me the juxtaposition of love and power, like which one is better. Most people who probably align with this channel will say love is better, but love is power because it's inner power when you love the self. Love thyself, know thyself is what I'm hearing. This means understanding that you pouring into you and the self-love that you seek is actually going to fulfill the need to be loved. Therefore, you're not going outside of you for somebody else to choose you because I'm hearing the word reckoning. We're having a reckoning right now of some sort. The revolution of you is the reckoning of all of those identifications that we've had growing up or that we've been taught. So back to this whole self-love, because Archangel Michael, the energy of Archangel Michael, which is the protector, which is the sword of truth, which is blue ray, ray one creation, the ability to protect, the ability to create, and the ability to destroy. When you understand that your capacity as a human being in your absolute power, that you can create, destroy, reshape, and remold things, starts to make you acutely aware of how you relate to others. And in terms of love, most people, our dynamics and relationships are showing us facets and mirrors of places that we need to love ourselves, where we have given our love of self away, where we have felt that we are not loved. So yes, it's an inner journey. Yes, it's about self-love. Yes, we're being called to pour into ourselves. But there's this piece of like, don't forget every relationship you've had up to this point. And it's not just romantic relationships. We're talking about love on a grand scale, but Spirit says this is predominantly about relationships between partners is what they're referencing for somebody on here. There's somebody here who I feel like you have, there's divorce. You've either just gotten divorced, or you are contemplating getting divorced, or you are planning on leaving, or having a separation agreement, or you're in the midst of a divorce and it hasn't come to a conclusion yet. It's like this in-between state that they're giving me. So take that as it resonates if that's for you. There's just an in-between state of moving from a couple, like an identity of this couple where you've lost yourself, into an identity of just you, or just, I don't know what that is. Either you're just about to go into it, you're thinking about it, you're in the midst of it, or you're trying to get closure from it. It's one of those things. These are the times we have to utilize those relationships and take a step back and start filling ourselves with love, and recognize the reason that we were not loved is because they didn't know how to love us. That's in the last channel really briefly too. This one's a little bit more in depth, and it feels like it's more encompassing because the word chosen keeps coming up. And this is in relationship to 144,000 in the viewpoint or the perspective of the chosen ones. My personal perspective is we're all chosen by the divine. That's why you're in a body walking around here. You are all loved because you are made of the energy that creates worlds, creates human beings. Just stop and think about how enormous that is and how magnificent it is. So you are love. You are the thing that makes love. But if you feel like you're not full of love, your job is to fill you with love. That is the dynamic. So going back to the chosen one, because I kind of got sidetracked there, because I get excited when I look at the I'm supposed to share this. I get really excited when I think about 8 billion gods walking around the earth plane. And that's just my perspective. Like to view people around me and to know that, wow, like literally love made you. The energy that created worlds is the reason you're standing with me in front of me today. And guess what? You're part of the collective consciousness that I'm part of. And again, I'm hearing, we are all innocent. So I'm being told this is the time when you pour yourself with self-love, that you start to recognize when you begin rewriting that, or re-experiencing love in its purest facet and form. Side note, that's what we're doing in the Love Sanctuary for the entire month of February. I hope you'll join me. You can find out more in the video description box below. But anyways, the whole purpose of filling yourself with that love is suddenly you begin to identify all the places that we have woundings or hurt, not because they didn't love us, but because they didn't know how to love us. I can love me better than you can love me. That's because I'm beginning to understand me. I know what I need. I know how I need to be loved. Love languages is coming up. Understanding love languages. So I'm not really that familiar with love languages. However, they're showing me five. Let's say that somebody who is, my love language is giving gifts to people. Let's say that's my love language, is giving gifts. And my partner's love language is being heard and seen. They don't care at all about gifts. But because I'm loving them from the state of how I love or what I think I need, I'm just giving them gifts because I think I'm loving them, because that's my love language. Versus my partner who's like, I don't give a shit about the gifts. They just want to be seen and heard and felt deeply. And they're not getting what they need. and I'm not giving what they need because it was based on my own love language of myself versus the understanding of how somebody else is loved. And this is just a dynamic, like an example for you to put it into a context is what I'm hearing. Yes, let me tell you, put it into a context so that you understand that you can love, nobody can love you better than you. That's because you understand how you need to be loved, where you need to be loved, why you need to be loved. And only in that process of fueling all of those things and understanding that facet of self and the concept of love, do we suddenly come to the innermost being of us, or the innermost truth, which is, I am love. And love is light, and love is dark, and love is, helping somebody, and love is standing back and allowing them to stand on their own 2 feet. There's so many different facets of love. It's not just one thing. It's not just this pretty shiny little box. It's loving the light and the dark, and the strengths and the weaknesses, and giving and taking, yin and yang. That's love. It's the totality, the entire encompassment of it. So if I were to, I'm being told to press this lens up to the facet of grief. Okay, so if I look at the facet of grief and love, some people say that grief is simply love with nowhere to go. But grief is love. It's just another facet of it on the spectrum. Loving somebody in the body and loving them when they go is still love. If I have sadness because I miss somebody, that's still love. It is another facet of the experience and the depths and profoundness of the actual concept of love. And everybody has a different concept of love. But I'm being told for somebody on here, you're about to reprogram everything you think about love. Everything that you have a concept of or an identity of love is changing rapidly, swiftly, is what I am hearing. And it completely changes your entire being. So if I am filled with love externally, my signs and guideposts are going to reflect that. If I am filled with love, that is when I'm able to view other circumstances and other people with love. When I can be unconditional with myself and love myself despite my faults, despite my mistakes, despite anything that's gone on, if I can still find an unconditional love somewhere in there and forgiveness inside of me for me, only then can I view and perceive outside of me with a lens of unconditional love. And I'm hearing rare. This is so rare that people, human beings on this earth plane can do that. There is, I'm seeing three pods of subsets of souls who are specifically here to teach, to hold the frequency, to share that ideation, that energy, that concept of unconditional love. Venusian is coming up, Venusian. It's that belief system of unconditional love. I'm being told to reference Jesus and Judas. Let's say Jesus and Judas. Judas did exactly what he needed to do. Everybody says, oh, he betrayed. But did he not do exactly what he needed to do for this actual great awakening that's at the end of that era, which actually astrologically began at the beginning of the era, which was a Piscean age? I hope I have those dates correctly. I'm just going to trust. Let me tell you, it doesn't really matter. It's really about the energy and the concept of it. So Judas did exactly what he was supposed to do, which was to betray and then to do all these other things. Because guess what? That sets the stage for now for absolute unconditional love and forgiveness, understanding that all things play a part, all roles play a part. And even when we think something isn't working out or is bad, what if I told you that it's actually leading to something epic? I don't even have another word for it. To something that is so beautiful, but again, will not be seen in the moments where we think it's dark. We can't really see in that darkness the beauty that outlies us or is in front of us or will be there in the future. So this whole idea of love is not just about you loving the self. It's about having that unconditional compassion and love inside of you, because only then, when that is part of who you are, when you have a total acceptance of the self, can we then view somebody else with the total acceptance of who they are, despite how they're showing up, despite what your past is with them. It's this whole idea of, it's just a self-love revolution, friends. That's just what I feel like. So this is a very clear message for somebody. Yes, go buy yourself flowers. Yes, love you. No one can love you the way that you can. And every time you look outside of you for someone to love you the way that you want, you have forgotten that the only person that can love you the way that you need in its totality is you. No one can love you like you can. And that is really, thank you. That is really the point of the message, is what I am hearing, that I am to share just as we are coming into the month of love, which is February. So we are rewriting and reprogramming the month of love. If you would like to join my email subscriber list, there are some channels that I will be sharing about this whole concept and the different facets, mind, body, spirit, and that unconditional love facets, because this is something that I too am learning, how to unconditionally love myself through all of my shadow and my light and all of my idiosyncrasies and all the places that I haven't loved myself and all the places that I really love myself. So I'm just going to openly share them. If you want to join the email subscriber list, you can go directly to my website, scroll to the bottom. You get a free 12-step intuitive guide to tapping into your intuitive compass. And of course, if you are wanting to commit to replenishing and loving yourself the way that you need, the way that you can, while opening up your divine connections, please join us in the Self-Love Sanctuary for the month of February. We will be going live together from February 1st until February the 28th, so that we get a consistent momentum, connection, and really tap into flooding our systems with that unconditional love, the love of the divine, because that is unconditional love, and replenishing that and reprogramming it in the self. So if you wish to do that, if you wish to step into that sanctuary with us, you can find the link for that in the video description box below. I'm wishing you all peace, light, love, healing, and transcendence. I hope to see you in the Self-Love Sanctuary for the month of February. And until next time, beautiful souls.